A lot of people don't know this, so you about to get the inside, the intake on it.
So how'd you get into basketball and what was your recruiting process like?
Like I said, I'm from Syracuse. Started playing basketball when I was about 7th grade, or kind of a late bloomer, everybody tells me. High school was pretty tough for me because I didn't like school at all. My grades were terrible. So like the recruitment process for me, I really didn't have a recruitment process. So by the grace of God, like my aunt, she had contacts with, JuCos, because she's also a basketball coach and she's in the basketball world. So she got me in contact with somebody in California. So I ended up going to 2 JuCos. I went to College of the Syracuse, which is in Northern California. And then I played a season there. After that, I left and went to Coffeyville Community College. Played 2 seasons there. I redshirted a year. And I played 2015, 2016. Also got my associates from there. And that's how I got to West Virginia State from Coffeyville.
After your JuCo, you went to state. What pulled you in and how would you describe playing at the Division II level?
So coming out of JuCo, I didn't have a really great relationship with my head coach. She didn't really help. I feel like she had favorites. She didn't really help the ones that needed, help and that push to get to the next level. She didn't really help us out. So what I did was I met up with my assistant coach. We put my film together and we just started sending them out to like different schools and stuff like that. So West Virginia State at the time, as you know, like Coach Marshall, that was his first year there. So he was looking for something new, something fresh, as was I. So when I sent him my film the next day, literally the next day, he hit me back and he called me. He was like, I like your game. I love your tape. Like, let me talk to your coach and see what kind of person you are. So they talked, and that's how it went from there. It was kind of a difficult transition because all of my life I played post. I didn't start playing shooting guard until I got to West Virginia State. I remember being on my visit, and coach put me through a post workout and a guard workout. And through the post workout, I did terrible. Like, he told me he wasn't even going to sign me just because I did so bad. So he brought me back the next day and we went through a guard workout and he looked at me and he said, "You're a guard. Like, you've never been a post. Like, you need to be a guard." That transition for me was kind of tough because, guards, and specifically in that conference, the Mountain East Conference, guards are more quicker, they're faster, everything is a speed up. Playing at that level, I think it was good for me because it wasn't too much. So D2 level is not D1, but it's just as tough, and it's not D3. It's a step up. So
after playing at state, you went overseas. How would you describe your experience while you were playing over there?
So I ended up playing in the Czech Republic, which is about 2 hours from Poland. I'm gonna just say this before I say anything else. Overseas is not for everybody. It was different for me because I was the only Black person on the team. So that was a culture shock for me. Everywhere I went, people stared at me, asking me for pictures. And it was different for me because, I've never left the state. So that was definitely something new for me. You have to be on a different level mentally to play overseas. You just have to be and if you're not, you're not going to make it. When you go overseas, especially as a D2 player, people overseas, like agents, coaches, GMs and stuff like that, they expect you to play like a Maya Moore or a Candace Parker. They expect the absolute best. Like, they want you to come in and have an effect immediately. And a lot of people struggle because when you're in college, you have a certain role. So if you're not a scorer and you go overseas and you can't score, then that's a problem. So like I said, when I went over, I struggled a lot with, just getting used to the different balls and the courts and the rules and stuff like that. So I struggled with scoring. So I guess they wasn't feeling it. Then they tried to say that they didn't have enough money for me and the other American. So what they did was they contacted my agent and say, "Hey, this is not gonna work. We're gonna send her home." So I had an opportunity to go from Czech Republic to Portugal, but Portugal wasn't trying to pay me a lot of money. So I just decided to come home and figure it out with my agent, see if we could find other countries to go to. My agent kind of drifted away from me and I ended up losing him. So I just had to figure out a way to, try to stay around the game, but I couldn't play. So coaching was the best option for me.
What was the coaching experience like for you personally?
So my first official year of coaching like a JV team, I was a head coach at Spring Valley High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was out there about 2 years ago. That was a good experience. Coaching girls is definitely a challenge. I didn't realize how hard it was to coach them because I'm always so used to playing with girls. Coaching them was a different level because especially at that age, I was coaching, I think, 9th, 10th, and some 11th graders. Very emotional. But that program that I was with, they made it easy for me because it was kids that wanted to be there. It was kids that wanted to get better and, wanted to improve their game every day. So that made it completely easy for me. I did assist a little bit for the varsity team. And I think being an assistant for the varsity team was good for me because I kind of like to be in the background for now. I don't think I have that much experience to lead a whole program and deal with parents and stuff like that. So what I would do was, just all the workouts, the 5 a.m. workouts, the after practice workouts, like the individual workouts and stuff like that. Just even when like in a game, like I'll be the coach sitting at the end of the bench. Whoever come out the game, I pull them like, hey, you need to do this, that. They get back in, they do their thing. So I think that role for me was like perfect because it's gonna give me that extra experience for when I do want to become a head coach one day and run my own program.
So you're transitioning into a new phase of your life, being a mother. How have your previous experiences prepared you for this new moment?
I think the biggest thing that I would say is when you're going through these transitions, like as far as like, coaching and actually playing, like it's some things that you just can't control, right? So I don't know if you ever heard the saying, some coaches say, like you can't control how offense go, but you can control what you do on defense. I feel like that's a huge quote that I can use and I've been using throughout this whole pregnancy because it's a lot of things that I can't control. And I have a lot of anxiety about, just worrying about the baby and stuff. But what I can control is the things that I'm doing as far as like, taking my prenatals every day, making sure I'm going to get checked up, making sure I'm taking care of my health mentally and physically. So I just think that plays a huge part. The most exciting thing about bringing her into this world is just, being able to see her grow and raise them to have morals, and maybe she'll play sports, maybe she'll be a model, like just being able to support her throughout her life and just being there for her as if my mother was like my mother was there for me. So just being able to do that, I think is awesome. I think it's beautiful and I cannot wait.
For this challenge, I'll give you a topic. Your job is to list your top 4 to 5 in each of these categories. List your top 5 WNBA players.
My top 4 or 5 for the WNBA is Candace Parker, Breonna Stewart, Maya Moore, Dawn Stanley, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like, what is her name? I don't even know her name. Aja Wilson from South Carolina.
How about your Mount Rushmore for the top NCAA men's basketball programs?
I'm gonna go Syracuse because that's my hometown. I gotta represent. I've been liking Baylor for a few years now. Their program is always really good. Kentucky is always pretty good. Haven't been recently, but like in that 2011-13 span, it was pretty good. One more. I'm gonna say I've always been a fan of like UCLA. Always been a fan of that program. Wait, I want to change my answers. I forgot about UConn. For me, and this is not in order. It'll probably be Syracuse, Baylor, what was the other? Kentucky and UConn.
And finally, what's your all-time college basketball coaches list?
Top 4 college coaches, men or women, is Dawn Stanley, John Thompson, Pat Summitt, and Shaka Smart. Hey, this is JD, and this is No Stupid Questions. Don't put that part in. you.